Hi everybody, welcome back to Lockdown Lessons Part 29. And with me today, I've got Justin Smith-Essex from TED Learning Group. So I'd just like to kick off by saying hello to you, Justin.
Phil, hello, nice to meet you and see you on this this lovely day.
Exactly, very good. So I suppose the best question to ask first is really for those people that are watching this right now that don't know who you are, Justin, and what TED Learning Group does, perhaps you could just give us a little bit of a background.
Sure. So TED Learning Group has a number of brands within it. We've got our TED Learning brand, which is 9 years old. We deliver training that is drama and theatre based. So we use lots of actors to make stuff feel a little bit different, very engaging and fun. We then have our Emerging You business, which is a new brand that we started in the middle of 2020, which is an interesting time to start a business. That tends to deal with more larger corporates doing programs. Around customer experience, team leading and leadership type programs. So they're essentially our two core brands. We have a digital business and we have an educational based business, but everything is around doing something that's a bit different. And both of our businesses use actors to help create something which is a bit more of an experience than perhaps you would otherwise have.
Fantastic. That was a really good synopsis. So I suppose one point you just raised there about starting a business mid-2020 and the fact that we're calling these lockdown lessons leads me on to the next question, which is if we could cast our mind back to sort of March the 23rd last year, at what stage just before then, during that sort of period, did you think this might be a bit of an issue commercially for both ourselves at TED Learning Group and also our customers potentially as well?
Well, it's interesting because I remember back in March, because we're part of a much larger group, which is not based in learning and development. They're an insurance business. And I remember somebody there telling me in March on a Friday, we think the TED Learning Group team are going to have to start working from home. And I said, oh my goodness, how long will that be? Oh, it'll probably only be till May. What I didn't realize is they possibly meant May 21. So at that point, I thought, okay, this might be a couple of months. It might be a bit tricky. I think for us, when things really changed was after the Prime Minister announced the complete lockdown. That following day, I spent the entire day taking calls from clients, cancelling face-to-face classroom-based learning. And that's when we started to think, this is quite serious now. What are we going to do as a business that comes back from this so that we don't, really suffer? So it was that point where we started to think something's happening here, and clients were in probably two camps: those that were really panicking and thinking, okay, we're just going to cancel everything, and those clients that were saying, look, clearly you're not going to be able to come into the classroom now. What else can you do for us? And that's really where our creativity started to flow, when we started to look at what could we do differently.
So okay, so that brings me on to the next question, really. Everyone bar none has had challenges during this lockdown period, first, second, whatever lockdown period we're in at the moment. And how have you managed to adapt to those challenges to really get the best out of a tricky situation, Justin?
Well, it's interesting because I think overall, obviously, I don't think anybody particularly enjoyed last year, but it was where we became our most creative because we had to be. So as a team, although we were split and we work all over the country and we weren't able to be in the same space, we took this as an opportunity to say, how can we be at our best and our most creative? So the first thing that we did was we fast-tracked our virtual delivery and our digital side of our business. So like many training companies, we've spoken for years about, oh, digital seems to be picking up. People keep talking about digital, but everyone loved what we did in the classroom. So we put most of our focus and energy on that. And our virtual and our digital offer was kind of, an afterthought, really. And all of a sudden it became, we've got to get good at this. And I think, with no criticism of any other business, because every training company had to adapt really quickly, we took a bit of time to step back and watch what everybody else was doing. And I think overnight, everyone became a virtual delivery expert. And we didn't want to just sit in that camp and say, oh, now we can just sit in front of a camera on Zoom and do the training for you. So we actually took some time to rewrite all of our sessions to be able to deliver them in a virtual environment. So in some ways, we were brave because we took about 6 to 8 weeks before we started to sell any of our products. Clients were saying, where are you at with it? We're saying, we want to get this right. We don't want to just say, okay, well, we'll just flip from being in the classroom to having one of our trainers sit in front of a camera and two of our actors being in various different locations. So we spent a lot of time thinking about it, pausing, deciding how could we make sure that what we did stayed true to the values that we have when we're in the classroom. And I think that really paid dividends for us and really helped us.
Fantastic. So okay. So and when did you manage to get? At what point did you actually get the material into a position whereby you could start marketing it and delivering it?
Well, we started to sell it really in I think May, early June. We've always been maybe arrogant or brave, whichever way you want to look at it, which is we started to say that we could do it beforehand. So we were marketing that we were a multi-channel business to our clients. And then depending on what clients wanted, that drove what our priorities were internally. So, what we got a sense of was inclusion and equality and diversity it's always been a core product of our business, but with the George Floyd murder, the Black Lives Matter movement, suddenly it became a real priority for a lot of organizations. And so we quickly identified that was one that we needed to get in a virtual space. But it was about May or June where we really said, right, we're ready now. Let's go for it. Let's press the button. Let's put some investment behind marketing and see what's out there. And I think that's what's helped us survive through what's been a very difficult year.
I agree. I mean, a lot of people I've been speaking to, when you start to talk about marketing, their knee-jerk reaction is cut all costs, cut any effort. We're going to batten down the hatches. Marketing is not great. Whereas there are some great stories of sort of a 1930s global depression of Kellogg's launching the Rice Krispies brand back then, and their biggest competitor, who was pretty sizable by then, actually decided to cut all marketing costs, resulting in them going out of business in the early 40s and Kellogg's being where they are today. So it's an interesting thing that marketing is something that people, if you're not feeling brave, I think that sometimes those people can fall by the wayside at times like this. So congratulations for keeping up the effort and the energy levels, definitely. So if I could just ask you about sort of what sort of wins have you had since March the 23rd, whether that's been more recently or less recently, Justin?
Well, it's linked to that point that you were just making about marketing. I mean, I'm certainly not going to criticize any company for reducing spend because, our sales collapsed overnight and it became very, very difficult for us as a business to go, right, what we're going to do. And you're right, you can either mothball your organization and really rein everything in, or you can try and spend your way out of it and keep your brand at the forefront. So I think one of our big wins has been that we continue to do a lot of marketing. We're very creative in getting our team who are working from home to go and stand in a field and record themselves doing a promo video, or to be in various locations at home whilst homeschooling their children and also filming, and our production team then getting an iPhone recording and a sound recording separately and trying to marry those up. I think the big win for us is because we continued with our marketing, because we were so passionate about what we did in the classroom, was we've engaged with some really large organizations that are global businesses that maybe if the situation of last year hadn't happened, we wouldn't have been as brave to spend the money that we did and to be as creative as we were during that period. So it's been a very mixed year, don't get me wrong, it's been very challenging, but I think because we decided that we were going to punch above our weight, we were going to keep talking about our brand, we were going to spend as much money as we could without putting the business in jeopardy, but also getting people to discover us, has been a massive success for us. 98% of the companies that we're working with now are brand new business. So, wow. That's pretty phenomenal. That's not to say that our existing clients aren't working with us, they are, but we've replaced a lot of the work where clients have had to pause because of the impact on their own organization with a lot of new business. And that has all come from being brave and doing the marketing that we've done.
That is absolutely phenomenal. It's almost like, okay, in one respect it's not, but in another respect it is like you started a new business, starting from the ground up with a minimal amount of clients.
Absolutely.
That they're obviously going to come back at some stage when we go face to face. So the business is going to be a lot stronger position because you're going to have these online clients that you maybe would otherwise not have met had COVID not been forced upon us. Plus, you're going to get the wins of the other guys coming back to you when they're ready, when we're all in a position to start hugging and kissing each other again, right?
Well, that's the plan. I mean, I think the other thing that I'm really proud of is, as I alluded to at the start of our chat, is we created a brand new business during it. So, you know, our TED Learning and our TED Digital businesses were existing brands. So, you know, TED Learning's been trading for 9 years, so it wasn't new. It had to evolve. Our emerging new business is a brand new brand, and we took some team members from another organization. They joined us. We created that brand as a team, launched that brand, got everything up and running really quickly. And that business has secured brand new clients during that period as well. And that's an example of where we haven't spent a lot of money on that particular brand in marketing it at the moment, because we wanted to get the offer right. But, you know, that and the creativity of the team, with us all working independently and working in silo at home, I think have been phenomenal achievements of the team.
And I think that the fact that you've got a strong creative side to your business is actually quite helpful. I was just thinking back to what you said about the marketing side as well, because I think at times like this, yeah, we can't just do what we've always done. We can't use the same message. We've got to change and adapt along the way. And if you haven't got a creative bone in your body, adapting your marketing is actually one of the hardest things to do. So I take my hat off to you firstly for that. So I suppose the next question is, Justin, is there anything you've actually done differently during lockdown that you are actually going to continue doing once we're actually out of it totally?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, I would never have expected to say that I was happy for my team to work all of the time at home. We all miss human interaction. You mentioned hugging and kissing. You know, we all miss just being in a room, giving each other a hug, bouncing ideas off of one another. And although this environment is great, it's a lot better than just talking to somebody on the telephone. It doesn't beat that. So I think what we are going to do is allow our team to continue working from home, to have that work-life balance, to work hours that suit them. So, you know, not being rigid in saying, you know, everyone's got to start at 9 and everyone's got to finish at 5 or 5:30. Some of our team now, because it suits their lifestyle, are starting work at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, that for me is like hell on earth. You know, my brain doesn't start to work until about 9:30, but I like working later in the evening. So why be rigid and stop people from doing what works best for them? You know, some of our team like to take 2 hours for lunch and go for a swim in a lake, which I think is insane, but they enjoy it, and it motivates that individual. So what we've decided as an organization is to empower and allow our people to work differently on what works best for them, and also to just keep working at the pace of an entrepreneurial business, to instill that in all of our team that, you know, it's been difficult. We've all had our ups and downs and our bumps in the road, but actually there is a lot of fun that we've had during the last, you know, 9-10 months. So let's not lose sight of that. So I think the key thing for me is to enable our staff to keep working in the environments that they're working in now.
Fantastic. I've heard that from a lot of people actually. I think that the challenge becomes where you've got people with a certain personality profile that are real people that want to be around people all the time. Sometimes, yeah, there's going to be some level of adapting that has to happen when we go back into the new normal, whatever the new normal is going to look like. But yeah, it's the same. That is the same for everybody. But okay, so. If I could say, so once we're out of the current lockdown, let's say the doors open tomorrow and you were allowed to do whatever the hell you wanted to do, Justin, what would you pick and choose personally to do immediately?
From a personal point of view or a business point of view?
Personal point of view.
I think a personal point of view, it's not too bad this lockdown. Lockdown 1 was the first thing I did was go and get a haircut, because I remember going into our office when we were allowed to, but before hairdressers opened, and seeing normally there's 400 people in the business, there were 12, and the look on their face of, you know, who's this hippie that's clearly put some weight on over lockdown. So haircut was the first, and that will probably be the first this time round. And then despite, you know, the sadness of what's happening on the high street, it is some retail therapy. I miss going into a shop. You know, I'm absolutely an online shopper, but, you know, heading into John Lewis again and having a look round and physically picking up and touching things and seeing that is something that I really enjoy. those two things, but obviously a key thing for me is about seeing family and friends. It's been really difficult not to see my parents during this period. You know, one of them's had to shield, and my dad is in his 70s, so not being able to see them and give them a hug, they're high on my list of priorities. And then just engaging with friends and going out for dinner. So that's a lot more things than you said I could have, but there you go, that's my list.
You've got a lot to pack into that first day.
A lot to pack in, yeah. I think it's going to be a crazy sense of relief when that happens.
Yeah, it will be, I think, for everybody. So, okay, so just to wrap up then, if anybody's watching this that maybe is your ideal customer going forward, or wants to find out more about what you do, or potentially knows someone that they can refer you to, who are you actually looking to meet business-wise, Justin?
Well, that's a really interesting question. I think it depends on what a company's needs are as to which one of our brands might work with them. We tend to engage with learning and development teams, HR directors, sometimes in small business, you know, it might be the MD of that organization, people that are looking for either some organizational change, how do they take their business to that next level, or in sort of SMEs and larger corporations wanting to roll out something like inclusion and equality and diversity, or mental well-being training. They're the types of products and services that we specialize in. And really anybody that's looking for something that's a bit different, that's an experience. You know, most training, and I've been in this industry for a long time now, both in teaching and in training. Most training, which is really good, appeals to the sense of hearing and seeing. Ours appeals also to the sense of feeling. So if somebody wants something that's much more of an experience, even delivered in this virtual environment, then we'd love to talk to them, love to look at how we might support their business, give them a bit of a demo, a taster of what our product looks like. And probably, rather than giving out all of our brands and where you can find us, is if you go to tedlearninggroup.com, you'll see all of the brands that we have within our organization and a bit about what we do. We're not a pressurized business. We just love to talk to people. And if they feel that we're right for them, let's have a look at what we can do. Some organizations, our style of delivery is not right, and we're not the slightest bit offended by that. We just say, brilliant, we wish you very best of luck. And in some cases, we recommended other providers where there's a better brand fit. But really, anybody that's looking for any sort of people performance or human to human interaction, then we've got a product that we'd love to talk to you about.
Lovely, fantastic. So just to finish then, so the web address was what, sorry, Justin?
It's tedlearninggroup.com.
Fantastic. So head over to there. Are there any other details that you'd like to pass out, email addresses, phone numbers, or anything like that as well?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're a Kent-based business, so our telephone number is 01732 495 925. That's 01732 495 925. And our email address, now you've got me on the spot here. If you email team@tedlearning.co.uk, then that will come through to our office. But our website's got all of our details. There's all of our brochures and course outlines and stuff on there. So it's a really good place to go to find out a little bit more about what we do.
Good stuff. Thank you so much, Justin. What I'm going to do for everyone that's listening, I'm going to post below in the comments your details, just so that's absolutely clear to everyone. But for now, thanks so much for your time, Justin. I learned a lot as always, and really pleased to see you again.
Appreciate your time, Phil. Thanks very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.